Welcome everybody to the Overwatch 2 mid-cycle dev chat for Season 4. Matt, Mr. X here, joined by some awesome guests who all worked on Starwatch, which you guys have all been able to enjoy in-game a little bit. Joined by Jesse Yang, gameplay engineer, Tess Lehman, associate game designer, hero design, and Chris De La Pena, senior expert audio designer. How is everybody doing today?
Great, thanks, Matt.
Yeah, pretty good.
Doing awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, this is going to be cool. Starwatch is unlike anything we've kind of had. It's like PVE, but PvP with like some cool story type stuff. How did it come together from like the start? Like I can't really even kind of comprehend how a game mode like this happens and kind of forms.
Yeah, so I think what happened with this game mode is we started basically from like the theme and the ideas that we had, right, for this concept of like the infinite versus the watchers, and going like, okay, well, we do actually happen to have a map that takes place in space, and that's Horizon Lunar Colony. So, you know what? Let's do a little bit of a throwback. Let's bring it back into Overwatch 2, and see how we can take it into places that we haven't necessarily seen before. So we can make it feel like not just another assault map and not just another TCP map, but like a actual fresh experience for players.
That's super cool. I know when I saw Horizon back, I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." What was it like for you guys as a team, like bringing that map back to life in a new fashion?
It's really like cool to get to see it again because, you know, we're putting it in the arcade mode. We're putting it part of a limited time event. So I think the new context really will help players see it in a new light. And then on top of all the cool new spicy stuff we added to the mode, overall helps it like reform into a completely new experience.
Yeah, like one of the ways we approached designing this mode was almost like, you know, people haven't loved like Assault or TCP in the past. So what are some things that we can do? What are some interesting mechanics that we can do to, like Tess said, spice things up so that it's fresh, it's interesting, and almost like even like mitigating some of the problems that people had in the first place by just like throwing in a bunch of fun, like a lot more fun, interesting stuff to play and try out.
Yeah, so obviously it's not 2CP. Chris, can you explain kind of like how the Starwatch mode plays out?
Sure. So, like you said, Matt, Horizon is a 2CP map. And what we've done with Starwatch is we've added 2 more control points. So you have 2 more control points.
CP.
Exactly. Yeah. So it adds some variation to the map type. Makes it a bit more dynamic, and yeah, it's a great experience.
And there's other like gameplay elements, right? Like in the mode itself, you know, turrets, grabs, like different types of things. Like how did I'm super curious, like when you guys first started like playing this, like how do you start to just add different things to the map and kind of have it come to life?
There was like a whole list of like, here's all of the cool like hazard elements we could add. And, you know, the ones that we're going to see in the game are things like low gravity, the turrets. There's going to be these barrels that if you destroy them, it releases Zarya's graviton surge and traps players anywhere near them. And you'll even see like Doomfist AI will be helping the Watcher team. And, you know, I think we kind of looked at the list and we thought like, what would be like the most fun? And we kind of started with that. And I think we just ended up finding out that everything we were adding was fun. And at some point we had to stop. And so that's kind of how we got our list.
Were there any that you guys tested that you were like, oh man, this could be super cool, that you were like, maybe let's try something different? I'm always curious on that.
One thing I can remember is so you know how like there's normally those gates where you can like go out into like space and what have you.
Yeah.
We were originally like, okay, what if we could like press a button and that actually became like a vacuum where you like got sucked out and then just died. Like because you got pulled into space, like you press like some player presses a button and you just die to the vacuum of space. We kind of threw that out because we thought it might be like a little too gimmicky, a little too specific, like location specific, but you know, I think that what we landed on was still pretty fun.
Oh, I love hearing wacky stuff like that. I could imagine like there would have been like Sombras and stealth, like going just like hitting the button, just like sucking everybody out, into the kind of just void of space. And Chris, obviously, like the sound design for all of these elements, like as it's starting to come together, how do you kind of create like that sound and just kind of different feel for a mode?
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of space operas. So there's a lot of content out there that we can reference and kind of bring that theme into the Horizon map and make it something that's completely new and unique. So we really focused on getting the ambient sounds right to match the artistic theme of the map, and really make sure that we are um, really adhering to our play by sound approach to gaming to make sure that players have all the information that they really need to have the most fun that they possibly can.
And what's that process like when you start? Well, I remember when Overwatch 2, they were showing all like the new like gun sounds, and they have like actual like recordings like for space and hazards. Like, what is kind of the process there?
Sure. Well, what I usually do is I start with things that are similar to the context and the visual context of what we're going to be working on. So, I can watch a lot of things, really start thinking about how to bring some of those ideas that are kind of established in audio out there and how to kind of make them Overwatch. So that's usually the first part. And then I get quick sounds into the game and then really spend a lot of time working with everybody else on the team, iterating on the sounds to make them as effective as possible.
That's just so cool how like all that comes together. And then also something interesting with Starwatch is like it uses revive in PvP. This is something new, right? Like a kind of like a down but not out type system. Like why did kind of opt for this over like traditional respawn?
Mhm. Yeah, so this was actually a system that went through a lot of different iteration, but it kind of started with the seed of wouldn't it be kind of cool to make it feel more like a mission when you're playing against people? Because now not only are you like the infinite trying to hold back the watchers, like instead of just like immediately spawning back, it's like, oh, I have to get my partner back into things. It kind of adds this like additional fantasy of like there are higher stakes here, there's like the watchers and like we're trying to make a final push, but a couple people go down, and instead of waiting like 10 seconds for them to respawn necessarily, it's like, oh, I actually have to watch my teammate crawl over to cover so I can rescue them, and that almost feels like a more epic experience. And it was also just kind of fun to play and experiment with like new systems and mechanics in a way that we haven't ever done before, right? Because Revive isn't traditionally a PvP mode mechanic for us. So it's like, yeah, let's see how we can integrate this to make this more fun.
Yeah, I think that's super cool. The level of detail that you guys think about, where like being able to revive somebody like that definitely feels more like a mission rather than me complaining for 10 seconds and waiting for the person to come back from the spawn. That's just like really cool. Were there any other types of things you guys thought about, like maybe for like a mission like this or like gameplay experience? Like a revive to kind of even make it feel more, in a mission sense.
I think like the way that the turrets and the AI kind of function in the game really help kind of bring that like a little bit of PvE sprinkle into it. It's not quite a PvE, but you'll be fighting against both humans and things that aren't quite humans. The turrets have a rudimentary AI system. There was a lot of work that went into the Doomfist, or maybe I should say Bonebreaker AI, as he'll be called in the game. And it makes you feel like, oh, I have to kind of like, I know who's human, I know who's AI, and I can kind of like manipulate them to my advantage. So you kind of swap into a little bit of a PvE moment or like mode of thinking every once in a while.
Yeah, no, that's I think it's like a really cool concept of like, wrapping in some kind of like player versus player stuff, because like I like the story stuff, but I also don't like playing alone and I like playing against other people. So something like this is like kind of like right up like my alley in terms of play style. Also, there's like an intro outro cinematic. So the three of you guys are obviously a part of like a large team that kind of made this level and kind of gameplay experience come to life. Can you tell us a little bit about how that kind of like cinematic got like embedded into the event and how it got created?
Yeah, we can talk about how. So we have some really awesome animators who worked on actually integrate, like creating the cinematics. Like Casey and Travis were super instrumental in getting those up and running. Also, like another engineer, Julie, who specializes in this sort of thing. Just yeah, a wonderful team of people really interested in like just adding like more story elements, like more like putting yourself in the mindset of like you're on a mission to like save somebody, or your like your ship's under siege or your station's under siege and you want to prevent them from succeeding, right? So like those folks helped create the content and we just kind of threw it in like here's like an awesome intro cinematic to guide you into the experience. And then one thing that we thought was pretty cool about like the overall game mode is that you can actually have a different ending cinematic depending on who wins. And so if you succeed in rescuing I think 3CHO, then you get the Watchers running away, or you watch the Watchers get thrown in jail if the Infinite win. um, and I think that's like a really cool like story element that kind of ties into like the PvP element does matter in telling that story, and it also connects to our larger like the comic and how the events of that will play out depending on who ends up winning the most.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. Chris and Tess, I'm curious, like, kind of your experience, with having obviously an intro cinematic, but then also like a kind of like specialized outro cinematic for how the game goes.
Yeah, so I had a lot of fun working on these cinematics. Love any opportunity I can get to work on like more linear type of content. I really felt that it was a great example of the team kind of working together to make sure all the different parts finish on time. For sound, we usually design towards the end of the development process, and mostly in terms of cinematics. So it's really about communication. Um, knowing when the cinematics are ready to work on, and then we just go in there and make sure that we're putting as much character into it, and making sure that we support the overall theme as much as possible.
So, Tess, how about you?
I didn't really get to work on the intro outro cinematics that much, but when I got to see them in game for the first time, I was like, "Oh, this is so cool!" When I just like got to see the difference between the Infinite or the Watchers winning, I was like, "Oh, that's like we've elevated the kind of ending cinematics that we've had in the past."
It's like the icing on the cake, probably, right?
Just,
for like kind of the mode.
Yeah, it really makes the whole mode come together, I think.
So curious, like, what were some of the biggest challenges that you guys kind of faced, like, from the start to the end of kind of making this mode a reality?
Yeah, I can start on that one. I think there was a lot of things that we added into the PvP experience for this mode, and I think the challenge for sound is making sure that everything is audible, that players really have as much information as possible about. Like there's turrets in the mode, there's a low gravity state. So really making sure that players are informed when those things are going on. It's like with sound, visually we can see what's in front of us, maybe a little bit peripherally, but sound is really a 360-degree experience. Yeah. So sound has a unique opportunity for to really give our players a lot of awareness in the game. So that was really sometimes challenging, but super fun, and I think we did a really good job at it.
Jess, how about you? What were some of the challenges you kind of felt bringing this to life?
Oh yeah, there were tons of challenges here and there, and a lot of it as a result of us trying to just do some different things. So there was a mix of both like technical challenges and design challenges, and some of the design challenges, for instance, were like we're putting points in places that they usually aren't, and also like depending on like your RNG, your randomization, like you might have different points. You don't always know exactly where the points are. And so one of the design challenges was people giving us feedback like, I don't know where the point is. I don't know where to attack or like where to defend. And so there was a lot of like interesting things that we ended up doing to try and direct players to like, hey, come over to this point and not like over to that place. And and like just trying to like break the force of habit of people always attacking like the same point A, point B for Horizon. So like we did a lot of cool stuff where like we threw like lights and sound into the map, like wherever the points are activating. We added some like lights on the floor that turn on and off depending on whether the point is active. Just like a bunch of smaller things to help guide players to where they actually need to be attacking the objective, right? There were also some like design challenges with like the revive system that went through a ton of iteration. Originally we were like, should we just let people sit there on revive forever? Maybe not. Maybe we should like, just in case people want to like troll their friends and just leave them down forever. No, let's have them eventually respawn, but just give some like more activeness to that experience, so you can still enjoy it without like being hindered by it. And similarly we have like the like, oh, I will choose to respawn now kind of mechanic to give players a little bit more agency. Like you dove in as like Winston or something, you're completely stranded from your teammates, they're not going to revive me. Okay, I'm just gonna I'll take the L, I'll head back to spawn. Okay. Yeah, and there were of course like technical challenges, like we haven't integrated intro and outro cinematics in this way before, so making the camera transitions work properly, making like the characters like flow in and load correctly, just all of these little things that you kind of like, oh, this did not come up before. We have to fix this now. But I think overall, like the experience, the knowledge, the technology that we've kind of developed will help us make more awesome content in the future.
That sounds super sick. And for Tess, like what are some of the challenges that you faced? Like it sounds like I know from Jesse, like you guys were able to like, you had a lot of different things, right? You're doing so many different things with this game mode, but like able to kind of conquer all of them. It's super cool.
Yeah, I think like when I looked at the mode, I think the biggest challenge is actually the fact that like the two sides have vastly different heroes, right? Because like the Infinite are going to be all the evil looking kind of characters in this game, and then the Watchers are going to be our more rebellious folk, and they ended up creating like very imbalanced teams. And so I kind of went around and edited all of the hazards in order to make sure that they kind of felt really good to play with all of our heroes. I think one of the biggest points of pain for a lot of people is on the Watcher side. All of our characters are really good at jumping or like getting really high up into the air, which sounds fun until you realize we added low gravity, and they stay up there for a long time. So I had to go through and make some custom low gravity where it actually you fall faster than you jump up. So you still get the fun feeling of having these big moon jumps. But then if you're playing a character like Ash, Baptiste, Wrecking Ball, you're not going to be just stuck up there floating for 15 seconds. You're gonna come alone a little bit faster. And there's other areas where I had to go and tweak it, like on the graviton barrels that you'll find. Felt like a lot of characters would accidentally explode things all the time, and Wrecking Ball would roll through them, or like Brigitte would shield bash and I'd get caught on one. And so I had to go through and I made very custom like damage modifiers for these barrels, which help the characters be more a little bit added more intentionality to when these characters are trying to destroy stuff. So you notice like your normal gun will be able to blow them up in like one hit, but if you're trying with something that's a little bit less accurate, like maybe Brigitte's Flail or Winston's Tesla cannon, then all of a sudden you're going to require you to hit them for a little bit longer just to make sure that players are sure they know what they're doing before they can get themselves caught in the graviton.
I hope players pick up on that level of detail, because that is so much care to gameplay, and making sure the gameplay kind of resonates and feels good and equal for everybody. I'm curious, how long does it take to make a game mode like this? Like my non-game developer brain sees it go into the game. I clap and I play, but like how much work does it take? I know, like, how long does it take to actually make something like a Starwatch?
Uh, I don't remember the exact timeline, frankly, but it definitely takes like a couple of months, right, to go from
Yeah.
your ideation phase to okay, let's like prototype some stuff and then like let's do some initial play tests to get feedback of like, is this like a good direction? Is this not? Like, are people feeling this mechanic? Are they feel or are they not? And then, once like you get through that kind of prototype phase, you start like finalizing things like, okay, I think we know what direction we want to take this in. And that's like, especially when we start pulling in folks from like all sorts of different departments, right, to help get us to like a final stage. Like we pull in like hero designers, we pull in level designers, we pull in all sorts of people to get this into a place where it's like slowly heading to like a final stage. And then of course we have our pull in our animators to make some awesome stuff. We pull in Chris to add some awesome sounds, and we pull in people to make really cool VFX, and just this kind of ongoing iteration process to make sure this mode is as awesome as we can make it.
So I got to ask, what were the favorite parts of working on the level, the mode, just kind of everything overall? Chris, I'll start with you. What was your favorite part about working on all this?
Sure, I really enjoyed working on the low gravity mode. It was really important for how can we best drive and support gameplay using sound. And the low gravity moment is similar to what you would experience outside of the horizon map on the surface of the moon. So the low gravity moments in Starwatch come and go. So we really want to make sure players know when the low gravity moment is happening. So we design the appropriate sounds to support that. The warning sounds that the players are about to enter low gravity. And then there's also a sound state that changes the entire sound of the game while you're in that mode. And also the ambient. So it was really a lot of fun kind of getting the new vibe, kind of evil battle station that's run by the Infinite Empire. So that was a lot of fun.
And Tess, what about for you? What was the most fun for you working on the mode?
Well, if I'm not allowed to cheat and say that my favorite part was getting to work with this awesome team, like Jesse, like Chris, then I think I would have to say getting to work on the turrets and getting to tweak all of their AI using our AI system was pretty fun, because it was all about trying to make the turrets feel smart enough and responsive enough that they felt like they were doing stuff, but not actually that smart and that responsive, so players can feel good about defeating them over and over again. And letting players get the good moment of like, oh, I outwitted this turret by standing behind a wall in a specific spot. It was like, it's nice to give players that kind of win.
Yeah, so the turrets aren't just gunning people down.
Yeah, they're not that good, but they're better than nothing. You kind of want them around.
Yeah. No, Jesse, what about you?
Yeah, I think that one of my favorite parts was getting to iterate with the way that we move points around and just throwing them in different places. Like, is this a good place? Should we be fighting here? Just kind of does this feel good? I love that kind of process, and also the revive. I think us and the designers were really invested in making this feel cool and work in a way that doesn't feel frustrating, so that you can enjoy those little moments of we're counting down the seconds to being able to make a final push. Let me rally my teammates back from the dead, and we'll make this final push, and we're gonna go all in. I think that part of that experience was really important to get right and get in a good place. Yeah, and other than that, I mean, I will also cheat like Tess and be like, I do really just enjoy getting to support all sorts of different folks. That this kind of game mode exposes you to all sorts of different disciplines to support. And that's kind of a huge job of a gameplay engineer, is seeing what people want to do and being like, okay, how can I facilitate that? How can I make a narrative designer's day easier by telling them, hey, this is how we can set up the narrative voice lines to go off in this way, or here's how we can control the logic for turning lights on and off. I love being able to enable people to do awesome things.
Yeah, no, this is really truly kind of awesome. Is there anything you guys hope that players pick up on? I think we've kind of like given some shout outs to different types of audio cues, make sure the turrets are, not hitting you too hard. Is there anything else you hope players pick up on that we haven't talked about?
Our composers did an amazing job for the music. It really sets the tone. So I'm hoping players get to enjoy that. Also, there's some cool little details. If you go to some of the windows in the map, you can listen and you might hear the sounds of a space fighter battle taking place while the watches are attempting their rescue against the Infinite Empire. So lots of little details that you can kind of find just by wandering the map.
The skins of this mode are so cool, and I love the attention to detail. I love the way that we've imagined, like, what if this hero was a little more eviler or a little more gooder or something like that. And just kind of fleshing out what does this like Starwatch universe looks like. And also there's just some like really cute dynamics to all of the hero skins and everything. Like, I just love the little squishy aliens on Winston's gun. I love how they wiggle. I love them so much. Personally, want to shout out like the awesome lighting job that was done to this map because originally when we were doing these playtests, like, things feel pretty like different, but it's also I'm playing Horizon, right? Again. But once we threw in that like lighting pass and making things a little more like darker and ominous and more space opery, like it felt like such a different map. And I was like, oh my God, the power of lighting. This is awesome.
I would have loved to have the first playtest, like when people log in, they're like, wait, Horizon? What's going on here? Tess, what about what do you hope that players going to pick up on, maybe that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, so I mean, I hope most of the stuff that I worked on doesn't get picked up on, because that's kind of the ideal scenario. So I would say that I would love to shout out, like the narrative team. I think they did a really great job of like making both sides feel like you're playing either this evil empire or this rebellious crew. And when you go play through the game mode, it's just like, oh, I'm not playing Doomfist and Lucio. I'm playing Bonebreaker and this prince. And it feels like it's really cool to jump into this new world where it's familiar, but it's not quite the same. And I think it was probably a real challenge to transform some of our gooder characters into very evil characters.
Yeah, just for a bit. They're just evil for a bit. Maybe not permanently.
Just for like 2 weeks in the arcade.
Yeah, just for 2 weeks in the arcade, they could be bad. So also this like ties into a comic. It's like a larger story that kind of like exists in a comic. Can you guys speak a little bit to that? Because like that's also kind of cool how like some of the stuff that happens in game actually impacts that.
Yeah, so one of the cool things about this game mode is similar to our Battle for Olympus game mode, where whoever was like winning the most would get a statue in Ilios. This game mode is also tied to a comic, which you'll be able to read, which is really awesome to set up the lore of Starwatch and like what's the context of how we got to this place, like in this game mode of like rescuing 3CHO or defending against the Watchers. And what's really cool about this game mode is that you're also feeding into like depending on which side ends up winning the most, you will be influencing the direction of this comic of like where does this narrative go next. Are the Watchers successful in leading their little rebellious crew, or is the Infinite like tightening their grip on things?
Yeah, that's really cool how because I also think like people want to enjoy Overwatch like outside of the game as well, so like to kind of take your experience in game and then kind of have this comic kind of like be impacted and released where people could enjoy that. It's just a really awesome like overall experience tied into everything. So I think before we go, it's been awesome to kind of chat and hear from you guys about all the different how difficult it is to make a game mode of like this scale and this difference, and then also all the kind of love and care that went into it. Is there anything you'd guys like to share with like the overall community before we go?
I think the answer is yes. It's just who goes first. I'm happy to say something. I think that the thing I'd love to say is like, I hope you guys have fun. I hope that this is an enjoyable, interesting new experience and that it gives you a kind of glimpse of like, what other awesome stuff can we do? If we can do this, what else? Right. And just overall, like, there's a ton of love and passion coming from all of the developers on our team. And we want you to enjoy that. And we hope we're doing it well.
Yeah, I think this is, there's a lot of interesting, unique kind of gameplay features to this experience, to this event, and it was a lot of fun to work on, and it's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun to play, and like Jesse said, I'm really hopeful that players love it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see everyone get in the mode and then find out, what players really liked versus what they loved, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing how everyone reacts, and I really hope everyone has such a great time playing it.
Yeah, no, I think everybody's gonna have an awesome time playing Starwatch. It's such a awesome experience, something that haven't really had yet. Jesse, Tess, Chris, thanks so much for joining us here on Dev Chat. I know everybody's super stoked to play Starwatch and just kind of experience it in game, but don't go anywhere. Right after this quick break, I'm going to be joined by game director Aaron Killer and executive producer Jared Noose. Stay tuned. Hey guys, Matt Mr. X joined by some special guests. It's game director Aaron Keller and executive producer Jared Noose joining me here on Dev Chat. How are you guys doing?
Hey Matt, doing great. Thank you so much for having us today.
Wonderful. Thank you for having us on the show.
Oh, no problem. And Jared, I think I want to start with you. Is you have been tweeting a lot lately, tweeting about a roadmap, saying it's coming mid-May. It's been on my timeline a lot.
I do have an update. We're going to run through the roadmap today. We're going to talk about what's coming in future seasons. We're going to talk a bit about PVE, and I think to kick us off, I wanted to ask Aaron to give us a little bit of a history lesson and some context.
Yeah, you got it. So we announced Overwatch 2 in 2019, and a part of that presentation was about this always-on, deeply replayable PvE experience. And as work slowly continued on Overwatch 2, we began to pull more and more of our focus and energy away from the live game and all of the people that were playing it. We had players that were excited to be playing that game, and they just wanted more of it. So we had a difficult choice to make. We could continue working on our original vision for Overwatch 2 without a definitive end date in sight, or change our strategy and get something in front of players sooner. We chose the latter, and we released Overwatch 2 last October with new heroes, new maps, new modes, and regular seasonal updates. But more than that, we shifted our values for how we want to develop the game. No longer would we store content up for really big releases and leave the game sort of languishing on the side. Now we made a commitment to always prioritize the live game and all of the people playing it, and to devote our development efforts there. This game is nothing without all of you.
Yeah, and I really can't say enough about how much we've learned over the past 8 months or so. And more importantly, we've taken that learning and we've put it back into the game. So as early as Season 2, I think you start seeing some updates we've made based on your feedback and based on what we've learned. We've been changing all of our systems. We've been adjusting hero balance way more frequently, constantly revisiting the roadmap behind the scenes to make sure that what we're planning to deliver is going to be great for everyone out there. And that really has been an awesome experience for us. And partially it's because we feel like we're able to deliver a better game to all of you. And partially it's because we hope that you're enjoying it more than previously when the original game was kind of slowing down a little bit in development. But at the same time, development on the PvE experience really hasn't made the progress that we would have hoped. The team has created a bunch of amazing content. So, there's awesome missions that are really exciting. There's brand new enemies that are super fun to fight, and some truly great and ridiculous hero talents. But unfortunately, the effort required to pull all of that together into a Blizzard quality experience that we can ship to you is huge. and there really is no end in sight or defined kind of end date where we can put that out into the world. And so we're left with another difficult choice. Do we continue to pour all that effort into PvE, hoping that we can land it at some point in the future? Or do we stick with this set of values that we've aligned on and focus on the live game and focus on serving all of you? With everything we've learned about what it takes to operate this game at the level that you deserve, it's clear that we can't deliver on that original vision for PvE that was shown in 2019. What that means is that we won't be delivering that dedicated hero mode with talent trees, that long-term power progression. Those things just aren't in our plans anymore. And we know that this is going to be disappointing to many of you, which is why we wanted to bring it up before we talked about the roadmap. And to be perfectly honest, it's been really difficult for many of us and a lot of folks on the team who've poured their heart and soul into that stuff.
Going forward, though, rather than doing a big one-time PvE releasing, and rather than pouring all of our efforts into these singular releases, we're planning to make co-op gameplay and co-op experiences just part of our live roadmap. So we want you to be able to experience it more often and with more variety than we had originally announced. We're going to be releasing our first major story-based event featuring a new set of missions, and it'll kick off a brand new story arc for Overwatch. And beyond that, we have a lot more co-op features planned. Some canon and some very not canon. And we just want to give ourselves flexibility to explore the universe of Overwatch and its cast of heroes and villains, as well as just try new things. We're going to continue to find the most exciting ways of bringing new experiences to the running game on a frequent and consistent basis.
Let's bring up that roadmap that Jared was talking about, because Jared, there is a ton coming to Overwatch 2 soon.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous actually when you see it all laid out like this. Let me just do a quick run through. There's a lot to absorb, and we'll be talking a lot more about this in the coming months. But in season 5, you see us dip our toes into that very non-canonical storytelling that Aaron mentioned. And we're not talking about all the details of what that season is going to be like, but it's going to be a brand new experience with a really cool, very integrated narrative for the Battle Pass. A bunch of new features and playable experiences, plus a bunch of returning favorite features. Season 6 is going to be the biggest season we've ever released, and arguably the biggest live release in Overwatch history. A ton of great PvE story content, but also that new support hero, a new permanent game mode that's going to go into unranked and competitive playlists. Season 7 and 8, we have another hero, a tank, coming this time. New control map. There's a ton to look forward to this year.
I know, when I see the roadmap, I jump from one side to the other. I'm like, oh, that looks cool, but then what about that? Oh wait, well, hold on, what's this? Where I gotta ask you guys, starting with Aaron, what's one of the things that you're most excited about coming to Overwatch 2?
Yeah, I have the same reaction when I look at something like this. It's just so easy to get lost in all of the details. I would like to talk a bit about the story experience that we want to deliver and how we want to kick off this new story arc for Overwatch. That's going to come with a whole new set of missions and cinematics, and it's even going to come with new story features for the game, like a lore database that players can unlock over time. And then additionally, we're going to be running a PVE event that season with a co-op replayable mission that's going to take place in a new section of King's Row. And then on top of all of that, a new single player version of a PVE experience where players are going to be challenged as individual heroes to run through courses and get the highest score possible. So it's going to challenge aim skill and the way people use abilities in order to be able to get to the top of the leaderboard and compete with friends and everyone else.
Oh, that'll be cool. I can't wait to message you guys and ask why I'm not higher ranked on those leaderboards, but feel free to block me when I do that. Jared, what about you?
Yeah, I'm. My answer is kind of a cheat. When you ask one thing I'm excited about, it's kind of all of it. More specifically, the thing I'm excited about when I look at the roadmap is that we're finally finding our footing and really bringing distinctive themes and feels to each one of our seasons, and then in season 6, we're actually going to change the way that we present seasons to players. We're going to give these seasons names and their own identities, and we're going to theme everything around them really tightly.
Yeah, no, it's super cool to be able to see all different types of content for all different types of players coming, which yeah, this has been a massive update, a ton to look forward to. Thanks for stopping by. Is there anything you guys want to say before we go to the rest of the community?
Yeah, I'd just like to give like a big thank you to all of our players in our community. We've talked a lot today about how our overarching value, our overarching goal for Overwatch development is to always be putting new things out in front of the community and to be supporting the game in the best way that we possibly can. That's what this roadmap is about. It's about showing you all of the work that we're putting into this game. So thank you everyone for playing. Thank you for your commitment to the game and all of the feedback that we've gotten from all of you.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you to everyone in the community for playing. Thank you for supporting each other. Thank you for supporting our team. Can't wait to hear what you think of everything we have coming. Please do send me, I don't know that I need to ask you, but send me more of your feedback on social, and look forward to seeing you out there.
Yeah, well, thanks again, Aaron and Jared, for stopping by. It's always great chatting. Tons to look forward to. And guys, check out Starwatch in-game now. Get a chance to play that. And always stay tuned for the next dev chat. We'll have one coming soon. We'll see you there.